This episode is brought to you by the members of the You Run Podcast Network. All of their shows and our own can be found at yourunpodcast.com, along with links to our socials and to our shop. So please head over to yourunpodcast.com today and find your next podcast experience. We are the home of entertainment.
If I wanted to, I could have just left, but I didn't. I wanted to stay with them and take care of them.
So this wasn't some evil plot that you thought up to...
Oh my God, no.
Heather's raging, old news she screams. The newer chases are all that she dreams. We dive into cases both weird and grim, from Zodiac ciphers to Tiger King's whim. We're You Run Podcast, the oddball pair. We're pretty damn good to be fair. You Run Podcast, do true crime. Heather's ranting, Scott's in denial. From Manton's madness to Tupac's case, we're serving up crime with a comical grace. We're digging up dirt with a weekend and night. You Run Podcast, approved by God. Probably not.
Hello and welcome to the You Run Podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Heather.
And we are the true crime show that is opinionated and you get to pick the cases. That's kind of what we are. Each month we take each month we dive into a case that you've selected on our Instagram polls. If you'd like to vote for future cases, go and follow us on Instagram. We're at You Run Podcast. You can also find us on every other social media at You Run Podcast as well. If you are on Instagram, make sure you give Heather a follow. She's at Wednesday Wine and Horror. You won't get accepted immediately. She'll check that you're not a weirdo, and if you're not, she will then accept you to be one of her followers.
Unfortunately, let me cut you off there. No, they can just follow me because of the stupid profile. It's not private. You know, when you make a platform like that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I mean, I can just like remove them, but like automatically anybody can follow me. I love that for me. Love it.
Okay, so you can follow Heather, and then if you magically disappear, just know that you're a weirdo.
Or I may not follow you back. It's no offense. Sometimes I don't see it, or I go and look at your page and I'm like, nah, not today.
Yeah, you've got a couple of interesting followers. You've sent me some of their posts in the past, and I've been like, wow, yeah.
Yeah,
You can get in touch with us as well. You can send us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can record us an audio message on X or Instagram. You do that by sending an audio note, voice DM. Please remember to leave us a review. It's incredibly important for the show. You can do this on Apple or Spotify. Just click 5 stars. We actually need you to do this more now than ever. So at the tail end of 2024, Google Podcasts and then Samsung Podcasts closed their doors. Across those two podcast platforms, we had about 80-ish% of our listeners. Some of those have found us again on Spotify or Apple or wherever else you listen, but a big chunk of those haven't. So if you could leave us a review, it helps us push us up the charts and makes us more discoverable for these listeners that are currently in limbo and don't know where we are.
Find us. Go look. You can Google us, the You Run Podcast True Crime, because Scott also does have a horror movie review. Of course, follow that one as well. But you got to put True Crime in, especially if you search us on Spotify, because it will just pull up his horror movie review. And we want you to do both, but we're looking for you, True Crime crowd. Come listen to us.
Yes, definitely. Before we get stuck into the case, yourunpodcast.com. If you want to find everything, go to yourunpodcast.com. There's links to all of our socials. There's links to this show, horror movie review, our YouTube channel, and links to all of the members of the You Run Podcast Network as well. This time, we wanted to offer you a case that wasn't as well known. So we put out a poll with kind of lesser known true crime cases. I was really surprised. I had never heard of this case before, and it literally went through every single round, landslide victory.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think if you're a true crime nerd, obviously you know about it. Like, you knew I knew about it. I was like, yeah, I know Jennifer. I knew exactly which one it was, but, you know.
Yeah, this was your pick, and honestly, it was a great pick. Like, we even had, like, Stephen Avery which is a really really popularized case. It's not a massive case,
Yeah.
but it's one of those ones that everyone knows about. And
Mhm.
this case tore it apart.
Yeah.
Today, we are looking at the case of Jennifer Pan. I hit the wrong
Is that a-
soundbite, but I'm gonna stick with it.
Is that our game show intro?
It-
We're on
it
the
is.
dating game. That's what it sounds like.
Yes, later we do have a game in the show, which we don't do
Mhm.
very often, but it fits
No.
this case really well. The soundbite I meant to play was this.
Stop right there, criminal scum! Nobody breaks the law on my watch!
That's what I was meant to
I don't
go
know.
with.
I don't know what it's from.
If you're a first-time listener to the show, you picked a perfect time to join us. We've got a couple of tweaks to the show, so regular listeners, you'll notice there's a few things that have kind of changed, and we've just kind of streamlined things a little bit to make it more easily digestible for people who are non-true crime people like me. It also makes it easier for me to take notes by doing it this way, because I'm not getting as hung up on dates and pain that I was before.
Yes.
So how it's going to work, we're going to give you a brief overview of the case, followed by a deep dive into the people involved, the events that happened, and kind of how it's wrapped up. We'll then give you our final thoughts on the case, and we'll tell you anything that is still happening around it today.
Yeah.
On the 8th of November 2010, masked assailants would enter the home of Jennifer Pan and her parents, Bik Ha Pan and Hu Han Pan. During this home invasion, Bik was murdered and Hui was left in a coma while their daughter Jennifer was restrained. Jennifer was the only witness to the crime and is now serving life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for 25 years for her involvement in the murder of her mother and attempted murder of her father. This case shocked Canada to its core. It also raises some really interesting questions about parenting, about how much pressure you apply to your children to succeed. This is a wild one.
Yeah, but I do like the fact that we're getting into more let me say more, not more, different aspects, especially the parenting aspect, the cultural I don't know what the right word is to use, but anyway, the cultural aspects of everything. It's not just about the crime this time.
No.
It's not just, we're not going to sit here and have this whole spiel on necessarily mental illness. Because in my opinion, it doesn't play almost no role in this crime. And when you know about it, you'll know what I'm saying. It's not the forefront factor in why Jennifer did this.
No, it's not, and there's a lot more at play here, and it's a real eye-opening case, and it's one that after I sort of finished, I watched the documentary, the Netflix documentary on this, and then I done some research, and then I watched a couple of clips online of her testimony and her police interview. It's a really interesting one, and it's not one it's not like the last couple of cases that we've done that I'm like, this is the worst thing in the world. It's still awful, but
it's awful.
It's more interesting, this one. We're going to kick off by taking a look at Jennifer's parents, Bik and Hui. They arrived in Canada as Chinese refugees from Vietnam in 1979, and they were granted asylum. They were married shortly after arriving, and they moved to Toronto. In 1986, Jennifer was born, followed in 1989 by her brother Felix. Hui worked as a tool maker, and Bik worked for a car part manufacturing company. In 2004, they purchased their first house and were living in the residential area of Markham in the Greater Toronto area. Both of their parents were loving to their children, and there's nothing that would suggest any mistreatment physically of Jennifer or Felix. And as far as I can tell, they had a pretty good home life and a pretty good upbringing and loving home.
I will say, as a baseline, they were not abused as most of our serial killers are. They weren't mistreated. Again, it's not going to be about that. It's going to be about the pressures, the societal pressures that her parents put on her academically as well. And, some people can't handle that type of academic pressure. They just cannot. And Jennifer was that's sort of, if you want to say made her snap, we can say that and we can use that word snap. But I mean, that's ultimately what led her to make these decisions to have her parents try to have both of her parents murdered.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the pressures in this. So, Bick and Hui were believers in hard work and set strict levels of academic achievement, which, as you said at the beginning of the show, is very much a cultural thing. That's not something
It
so
is.
much that is in Western culture as it is in the Asian culture.
Yeah.
There's a lot of extra things they made Jennifer do. So she took up musical theory and harmony lessons at age 11. She also done figure skating. She took daily lessons for figure skating. Her parents had aspirations of her going to become an Olympic figure skater, but she had a knee injury in her early teens that put pay to that. So they then put additional pressure for her to get into music. They were very overprotective, and both you and me have both admitted that we are overprotective parents too. But maybe some lessons for us in this case.
I mean, and this is me. Like, guys, I have to cut you off again. There's being overprotective, and I think being overprotective to a point is okay. And there's helicopter parenting, which is a term used to basically like you're up your child's ass. I would say that maybe cool. Okay, so as stereotypical as this is, it is in their culture. They are expected, the children of any of the Asian community, they are expected to withhold a certain standard.
Yeah.
As stereotypical as that sounds, you guys, and it's not me trying to be stereotypical, but this case really brings it to the forefront where Jennifer was expected to be a scholar almost. They wanted her to be the best, the best, the best. And she could not perform like that.
No, and the levels they went to sort of have control over her were mind bending. So they'd drop her off at school, they'd collect her after, they'd monitor any extracurricular activity she had. She wasn't allowed to date. She wasn't allowed to go to any high school dances, as they saw these as distractions from her academic targets.
Yeah.
By age 22, she'd never been drunk. She'd never been to a club, and she'd never even been on holiday without her parents being there. They had her on a tight leash, and I don't have a better phrase for that, but they really did sort of have
they did
the shackles really tight. I'll be honest, at this point in the case, when I was looking at it, I was like, nah, this is kind of, it's all right. I don't know if it's going to be the most exciting case to listen to. I said it at the top of the show. You picked a great one, because what come next absolutely blew my mind. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. I have teenage sons, and they can tell a good lie when they have to. If they're trying to go to a party, it's like, I'm staying at a friend's house, and you can speak to their parent. Like there's so much work and effort that goes into these elaborated lies. Jennifer is a whole nother level of pathological liar.
Well, I think she got into a cycle. Well, this is the thing. She is a pathological liar for sure.
Yeah.
But I think once you dig your hole so deep, there you go. Like, what else are you going to do? You're going to lie on top of lies.
Yeah. I mean, she was set all these academic targets, and she was an average student. She done her best, but she wasn't academically gifted.
Nope.
Her parents didn't know this, though, because she forged all of her report cards to show she was a straight A student. Now, because she failed some of her classes, she was rejected by her chosen university. Did she confess to her parents? Absolutely not. She instead told them she'd been accepted. She'd leave the house each day to go to lectures. She'd go and sit in a coffee shop. She'd done private piano lessons. She
worked in a restaurant or something, at a cafe.
And like, she went to university each day as far as her parents were concerned. She even went as far to buy textbooks, and she would watch YouTube videos about becoming a pharmacist, which is what she was training to do, or meant to be training to do. And she'd take notes and leave her notebooks around. So her parents are like, oh, she's studying so hard. Look at all these notes she's taken. Like, that's another level of commitment to the lie.
But don't you also think that it is, but don't you also think that it's another added level of pressure to her, that she felt so pressured to be so perfect that she did have to go through this ruse. Like, she had to do all of this stuff because she was too afraid to say, I'm not that great. Look, I don't want to be a disappointment, which you wouldn't be. I mean, like, culturally speaking, she would, okay, to some degree. But like, you think about like American families and things like that, and in even other countries, but it's okay. Like, if you have that type of relationship with your parents, you're able to come to them and say, I'm not that academically, I don't want to say smart, because it's not that she's not smart. She just academically did not perform as high of a standard as they were expecting her to.
No, and
she was so afraid.
Yeah, and this raised questions for me. So she was so afraid of telling her parents, but why? Is this a cultural thing because she's afraid that she'll bring shame to her family, or is this
yes, it's a disappointment. It is a shameful thing, because again, not to stereotype, and I'm going to probably use that word several times. If you look into the cultural aspects of the Asian community as a whole, okay, Chinese, Japanese, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah,
okay,
I agree.
It's like they're supposed to withhold a certain standard, and a lot of the times, the way that her parents were raised, I'm pretty sure that's where that's coming from. It's a generational thing as well. So it's like her parents they came to Canada to provide a better living for themselves, for their daughter. Well, they didn't know they were going to have a daughter at the time, but you know what I mean, for future children. So there you go. So it's like it would have been easier for Jennifer to just lie than to shame her parents, to embarrass them.
Yeah, and I'm going to say now, there's nothing wrong with not being academically gifted. There's
no,
we all want the best.
On different levels.
Yeah, we all want the best for our kids, but I don't think applying that much pressure is good. If you're applying so much pressure to your child that they think telling multiple lies and faking where they are and going to all this extra effort just not to tell you the truth, like, that's not good.
No.
Now, the grades, the jobs, the university positions were not Jennifer's only lies. She was granted permissions by her parents to stay with a friend who was nearer the university campus. Little did they know she wasn't at a friend's. She was at her boyfriend's, Daniel Chi Kwon. Daniel Chi Kwon Wong. God, I'm going to struggle with the names on this episode. I imagine this would have pissed her parents off so much, especially knowing that Daniel was a drug dealer.
Oh, well, okay. First of all, totally not acceptable. It would have been shunned from the family. But it makes sense that she would be drawn to someone who is so different.
Yeah, I get that. It's like, this guy's free and he can do what he likes, and like he's so cool. Like I get that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that's why Lisa's with me. She's like, this guy's such a fucking idiot. He's such a fuck up. Like, he's so adorable. I'm going to be with him.
She's like, I'm going to fix him. No, I'm just kidding. Don't ever try to do that. Yeah, don't try to do. This is the PSA for everybody. Don't be trying to fix nobody, because if you got to put that much work in, you maybe need to rethink the entire relationship, because it shouldn't be that much work.
Yeah, and from a male perspective, we cannot be fixed after a certain age. Like, if we're in our 30s or beyond, we're like a dog. Like, we have learned all of our tricks now. No amount of training will teach us any new ones. We don't learn anything new.
I did read a little study, and I don't remember where I saw it at, where it was like men don't actually emotionally mature until they're 43. And I was like, that fucking makes sense. Are you sure it's not 53? Like,
in that case, I'm nearly emotionally mature, which is
you're almost there, Scott. You're almost there. You're going to make it. Tell Lisa just to hold on a little longer.
just a little bit longer. Now, to be a good liar, you have to keep your lies simple. You have to also make sure you have a really good memory so you don't slip up. Um,
Yeah.
as we explained earlier, Jennifer's lies are very elaborate. They have time schedules attached to them and note taking, and like this is not a simple line. And it did all fall apart for her. So she added a new lie. I don't know why, but she said that she was volunteering at a hospital for sick children, and her mum
Yeah.
Vic went, but you don't have a uniform or an ID badge. So one day Vic decided to follow her to work, in inverted commas. And you can kind of guess the rest. I don't need to tell you what happened after that.
I mean, obviously she got busted because yeah.
she didn't go to the children's hospital. She went somewhere else, and her mum's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you doing? Her dad wanted to throw her out, which kind of then made me think of, okay, I get why she was trying to do it, because she knew that was a possible outcome. Her mum defended her, and instead they imposed some new restrictions on her. She must graduate high school and apply for university, which, to be fair to her, she did. She was forbidden to make contact with Daniel ever again, as she wasn't allowed to leave the house unless it was to teach piano, and then she was taken there and brought back again. On the down low, she did stay in contact with Daniel, but he kind of got fed up with not being able to see her. And I get that. And in 2009, they split up and he started dating someone else. There is a wild story that I found on several articles. I don't know how much truth is in it, but I want to share it because it kind of plays into how many lies Jennifer told. So apparently when Jennifer found out that Daniel was dating someone else, she told him that a group of people had tricked their way into their home using a fake police ID and then gang raped her. And she also claimed that later she received a bullet in the post, a bullet with her name carved in. It was posted to her. And she said that this was all arranged by his new girlfriend. Now, if that happened, that's fucking horrific. And I'm going to let you all make your own mind up.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, I'll let everyone make their own mind up.
I knew that was the story you were getting into because I believe that was even brought up in not the Netflix true crime doc, but there's been other true crime documentaries where Jennifer's been a part of them, or they're not necessarily just about her, but you know how they do the different stories of like 5 different crimes. But she has an issue with lying. At that time, she would have been so desperate. She would have been so desperate to win Daniel back or to have him, you know what I mean? So, of course, even she wasn't a teenager per se, but she's still a young adult, and they be doing some stupid shit. They don't have the their compass isn't going the right way. They're too irrational. Or maybe they're too emotional and act on emotion versus rationality. So with her saying all that, you could tell that I don't believe it. I've never had seen anything to say that it's been true.
No, there was no police report filed. The bullet was never shown to anyone. I'm quietly confident it's fabricated, but because I can't confirm that, I'll let everyone make their own mind up. This case is about to take a mad twist, so we're going to take a quick break.
I take like one sip of my drink and then I drop my full drink right on the robot.
To hear the rest of this story and many others like it, mixed in with film reviews, music discussion and true crime, You Gonna Eat That Crust podcast is the place for you. Hosted by Ryan, Greg and Seamus, the Krusty Boys bring you something truly unique every single episode.
Jack is useless. He pulls out his knife and he immediately loses the knife.
While if in-depth film discussion covering all movie genres is your thing, then Movies for Days is the place for you. Hosted by Newman, this show is hilariously funny and so detailed. These and many other shows all available at yourunpodcast.com. So please head over to yourunpodcast.com. Check out the other network members. While you're there, check out our shop. Check out our links to our socials. All of our shows, there's so much there. Just go to yourunpodcast.com and you've got literally months, if not years worth of podcasts and YouTube channels and all sorts of other stuff to digest. So do that. This section of this case is really short, but there's a hell of a lot to digest in a very short space of time.
Yeah.
So In spring 2010, Jennifer came up with an idea to have her father murdered in the car park of the company he worked for. Now, she approached an old high school friend, which was Andrew Montemayor, who introduced her to Ricardo Duncan, who Jennifer offered $1,500 to kill her dad. Ricardo declined and said, "No, I'm not doing that." He was questioned about it, and he said Jennifer once gave him $200 to go for a night out, but it was a loan, and he paid it back in full. And
Yeah.
I kind of believe him at this point. Like,
No, I mean, I'm sure that she did that. I mean, he was probably a way to like coax him into like, I'll give you some money. And again, young people, I don't know the ages of the two men.
I don't. I think they
I
were young.
don't know why.
They were
I
high
guess
school
I
friends.
should have.
I think
Well,
they
I
were
know.
19,
Well, so then they
20.
were probably about 22, 23, 4,
Yeah.
something like that. But again, $200 ain't shit. But
No.
if you're giving it to someone like that, I have read true crime cases where they'll fucking kill people for like $1,000.
Yeah.
Sometimes money is not the only motivating factor, and if there are drugs involved, $200 is like, I can get me some drugs, and like they don't have any consequential repercussions. Like it's almost like there's nothing in this world that will make them say no. Makes no sense to me.
There's no critical thinking skills there whatsoever.
No, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Critical thinking. None.
Yeah, it's around this time that Jennifer and Daniel were a thing again as well. And they were sneaking around, and they come up with an idea, instead of getting a friend to do it, to hire a professional hitman to kill her parents. So Jennifer had worked out that a professional hitman would cost her around $10,000, and she was set to inherit around $500,000 after her parents died, because she was the eldest, so everything would go to her. So she's like, yeah, like this is within my budget. I can afford this. So Daniel put Jennifer in touch with Lenford Roy Crayford, who provided her a SIM card and a mobile phone so he could stay in contact with her, not on her normal phone. Lenford then recruited Eric Shaw and David Malivanga. He's got the hardest name in the world. David.
We tried. We don't know.
Yeah, it was David. On the 8th of November, these men entered the family home. Jennifer left the door open so they could get in. They were armed. They demanded money before taking Bick and Hui to the basement, where they shot them. Before leaving, they collected $2,000 from Jennifer. Bick died from her injuries, and Hui survived, but was in a coma after the attack.
Yeah.
Now, on this show, I'd say we've become infamous for bashing law enforcement around the world for how piss poor they are.
It is what it is. I mean, let me go on a little tangent real quick. I'm just going to tell y'all this little story real quick, and this might make sense. It's real quick why we do this sometimes. So I live in the US of A, and I live in Louisiana, and not Texas. And so I live in a little older neighborhood where we're in a cul-de-sac. And if you know what a cul-de-sac is, it's basically like a little concrete, circle where it's a dead end road. Nobody can come through any further. Anyways, so we have a new neighbor. There was an elderly couple that lived there. They both passed within a year. So apparently someone bought their home, and there's this man that lives there. He's a fucking piece of shit. I don't care if he listened anyway. I cannot stand him. He literally plays music at 2:00 in the morning. I'm talking about so loud. He's 2 houses down. So loud, the bass vibrates our room. He's a nuisance. So we finally were like, we're sick of this shit. So Stephen called the sheriff's department, because we're outside city limits. So we have to call the sheriff's department. Long story short, we have a fucking camera outside on our garage, so we can fucking see everything. Guess what? They've made a circle and didn't do shit. Didn't even go to the guy's house. So Stephen saw that on the camera, called him again, and was like, your officer did not get out and do anything. We don't know if it's the same person because you couldn't see their face. They did nothing. They literally made a like they drove around the cul-de-sac, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, the thing is, it's this guy. We don't know if he's on drugs. We're pretty sure he's on drugs, but allegedly, because he's causing a lot of issues. And then we found out
and the police.
of our own. Hey, we did some digging of our own, Scott, because we're fucking petty like that. We found his Facebook. Stephen found his Facebook, and we found out that we believe it's his mother who purchased that home, and he just lives in it.
Okay.
He's 46 years old and acts like a fucking 12-year-old.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good example of the police.
Sorry
the
for going on
reasonable
that tangent. But literally, it's almost like, what if that guy was like, he could have a gun? Like, what if he's crazy? And they didn't even get out to knock on the door. They did not anymore check shit.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That is bad. However, in this case, Canadian police are the absolute shit, and they have some real kick-ass powers that other police departments across the world don't have and probably should have. So initially they thought it was a home invasion. And it didn't take them long to work out that it wasn't. So Jennifer's story was she was tied to the banister with her hands behind her back. And the policeman kind of went, so how did you make a 911 call and be crystal clear on the phone with your hands? Yeah. And it all sort of started to fall apart. And their suspicions were confirmed when Hui woke up from his coma and told police that he saw Jennifer whispering with the home invaders before he passed out. Now, police in Canada are allowed to lie to suspects in regards to evidence that they've collected and how they can collect evidence. This is commonly known as a raid technique. This is the greatest thing I've ever heard of, and the rest of the world should be able to do it because it's so cool and it's crazy. So they
I feel like
Jennifer,
some American police do that. I feel like some true crimes, I think they do fuck with them, is what I call it. They know, and they're just they're trying to poke the bear to be like, is this person? I know this motherfucker's lying. He's lying or she's lying.
Yeah,
it's a good detectives do it. Not all of them do it.
Yeah, but in Canada, they can legally go like above and beyond. Like it's not just poking the bear. It's I'm going to lie through my teeth because I know you're going to go, oh shit. So what they did is they said they had special software that could identify untruths in statements, and this rattled her a little bit. And then they went, also, you know, when you see these like true crime shows and you see like the satellite zooms in on the house and then like a house goes see through and you can see where all the people are. And Jennifer's like, they're like, we've got that software too, and it's linked to mobile phones. So we're currently running that analysis at the moment. So in a couple of hours, we're going to know exactly where everyone was throughout this whole event. And Jennifer just went, well, it was kind of me. Like, she caved immediately. And like everything they told her was a complete lie. They couldn't do any of that.
Well, yeah, they fabricated it. It's almost like saying that you could teleport, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not real, but I get it. But that does go to show you guys, like, you listen to this and it shows you that she did not have any street smarts. Okay. No. And academically, this has nothing to do with her being intelligent, but she was so fucking naive and gullible that even I feel like someone even her age would be like, wait a minute, that sounds a little made up. I mean, they do have technologies that we don't know about. I mean, they're listening to us on our phones probably right now. Let me bring some Mark into the podcast. My conspiracy stuff.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Mark is my co-host on Horror Movie Review and is arguably the most conspiracy-laden man on the face of the earth.
I think it's the mustache. I think that before he got the mustache, now all his lies are coming out at the tips of him, and I'm just going to let him know that. Anyways, still love you, Mark. Peace.
So Jennifer believed all the lies. She confessed to hiring hitmen, but she couldn't help but throw in one more lie and said, but the hitmen were for me. They were coming to kill me because I couldn't take it anymore.
It's like a suicide by association. Like, what were you setting up your own assisted suicide is what she made it sound like.
Yeah, through further interviews and a little bit more investigation, by April, Lenford, Eric, David, and Daniel had all been arrested for the parts that they played in the attempted murder and murder as well. Regular listeners know this already. New listeners who have joined, we don't really dive deep into trials unless it's something particularly interesting. They're usually dull and full of ridiculous, like Hail Mary plays to bring in reasonable doubt. That they just go in circles. Jennifer, Daniel, Lenford, and David were all found guilty. They were sentenced to life imprisonment without consideration for parole for a minimum of 25 years. Eric managed to escape justice in the initial trial, and it was down to a technicality. So his lawyer fell ill around sort of midway through the trial, which left him without adequate representation, which led to them having no other option but to giving him a mistrial. Now, he was tried for another offence and in prison already, and then he was retried in 2015, where he received 18 years after pleading guilty to conspiracy for murder, with the option to parole around 9 years in. He didn't get a chance to do that, though, because he died in prison. Now, I have searched everywhere I possibly could for his cause of death, but I cannot find it anywhere. If anyone knows...
I didn't know he had died, actually. So
if anyone knows why he died, please call in or send the show an email, because I'm genuinely curious, and I looked everywhere, even on like the Canadians.
And he's too young to have died. It wasn't like natural causes. Like all these people were very young.
Yeah, and like I don't know what it was, and I'll be honest, it was bugging me that I didn't know what it was. So if anyone knows, please call in.
Yeah, please do.
This case is let's be honest, it's pretty cut and dry.
Case closed. Let's get drunk.
I can't. I'm pregnant.
But this hasn't stopped Jennifer winning an appeal. So in 2003, the Grand Court of Appeal granted a new trial for Jennifer and for her co-conspirators, because the judge in the initial trial asked the jury to consider two scenarios. And both of these possible scenarios only had the option of first-degree murder. And they've ruled that there should have been the option for second-degree murder or possibly even manslaughter. And with cases like Gypsy Rose Blanchard being prevalent in the press, like the court were under pressure to make a ruling here that came across fair. The new trial is expected sometime in 2025. We're pre-recording this in January. So by the time this goes to air, this case may already have a date. It may already be at trial. It may already be over. But at the time we're recording this,
we don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't feel it. It's one of those things where you don't know. She could just get out of jail, because apparently the Menendez brothers are supposed to be getting out of jail, from what I hear. We're not going to get into that, because we don't have 7 hours for me to scream about it, just because I want to talk about it so bad. Because I saw it and I was like, oh my God, what is going on? Y'all have done fucking romanticize these people so much, and all these little fucking, I don't even know what generation you call it. Is that what it is? Fuck them.
I think so.
Fuck y'all.
Yeah.
I said that. Fuck all y'all. Like, I'm just saying, you don't even know anything about the Menendez brothers. I'm not saying that they're going to get out and kill people. Okay. That's not what I'm saying. But it's not really justification for you, because you think Ryan Murphy came out with this fucking stupid ass Netflix show on him, which is not good, by the way. And sorry, Ryan Murphy, but you need to learn how to do some better shit. American Horror Story has been refurbished too many times, and I'm tired of it. And it's like, the guys they used, they just sexualized everything. And now it's just that's all it is. It's like, oh, well, they deserve to be out because they were, and I know what I said on the case. No, I know what I said. I said, I don't know if they were actually sexually assaulted. I still don't. I don't know.
No, but I still don't think they need to be out.
But it's not for them, some 18-year-old, to be like, you weren't even alive.
No, they weren't. And if if you're listening and you like the fact that Heather's gone on a rant, if you want to hear an entire hour of Heather rant on the Menendez brothers, go back like 4 episodes because it's there. We
Yes.
covered the Menendez
We got
brothers.
to talk about it again one day because I got to figure out like if they're really going to get out.
Yeah,
Are they really going to get out? I don't know.
At some point, if they come out and if, for example, Jennifer Pan is released and we've got Gypsy Rose Blanchard, I think maybe
Well, I mean,
a recap.
she got out, but I don't feel like you can compare these 3 cases. Like Gypsy Rose, it makes more sense to me, regardless of how much she's trying to show her twat in publicity and like, look at me. Her case kind of makes sense to me to be like, okay, girl, your mom was like abusing you like hard fucking core. But we have proof of that. We have actual proof. We don't have any proof of the Menendez brothers. I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff and people are saying stuff, but like, it's kind of, you're tipsy turvy on it. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure. One thing I did want to add. No, so it's fine. You go. Like this is your thing. I just let you do it now.
I know.
One final thing I wanted to add before I wrap is when Jennifer was sentenced, she had a couple of special restrictions imposed on her. So she wasn't allowed to communicate with any of her co-conspirators. No. And her brother and father filed restraining orders against her. So she couldn't contact them as well. So she's very, very isolated in the situation she's in. Yeah. If you've got thoughts on this case, please remember you can get in touch with us by email yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us an audio DM on X or Instagram. Go to send a DM, push and hold the microphone button down. Yeah. Heather, what's your final thoughts on this case? Where are you with this? Should Jennifer be in or should Jennifer be out? Or should Jennifer have a lesser charge? Like, where are you?
Okay, I'm going to sum it up because it's a lot. That's a loaded question because we can all have our own opinions. Well, we should be able to have our own opinions on everything. And the fact of the matter to me is that I do believe she should be serving the time in jail. I don't know how I 100% feel about her getting out. I do not, but part of me is like, let me rephrase that. Part of me is like, I do not believe she's a threat to society. I believe that in this instance, that she was so pressured by the fact that she knew she could never live up to the standard her parents wanted, that she did have to make up these lies. It's not a justification or an excuse for her doing what she did. She should have not had her parents murdered, lied, did anything. But unfortunately, in that type of culture, in that type of upbringing, being able to be honest with your parents and just say, I can't do this, is not really acceptable to them necessarily. And then it would come with more problems with her feeling disconnected. She would feel like, well, I'm going to be abandoned because I wasn't good enough and my parents wanted me to do this. So I do think she should serve the time. If she got out, I don't think I would not be worried. Just because, again, I do not think that I think this was a one-off crime. And I do think that she does regret this happening.
Yeah.
She did seem slightly, but I say slightly, let me take that back. She seemed remorseful. And I don't think it was one of those situations where she was like, oh, I got caught, so I'm sad for me. I think she was like, my mother's gone. My father he didn't die, but now he will never have anything to do with her ever. Never again. Or her brother. So it's a fucking lose-lose situation for everybody. But I think if she got some rehabilitation, and she still needs to get some type of therapy, because again, mental illness is not a sole player in this game. No. This was more of a societal pressure that led her to make these choices. Okay. And I mean, my God, she was 22 years old and she couldn't probably go to the bathroom without, there's a difference in being like, I want to keep my kids safe. And I want them to do stuff, but you don't want to coddle them. And I'm saying coddle in the sense of like, you can't let them not get experience anything.
No, we all learn from
So,
our mistakes, and if you don't let
yeah,
your kids make any mistakes, they're not going to learn.
no,
Probably hot take coming in from me.
always.
This is a pressurized kid who snapped.
Yeah.
100% what she done is wrong, and I'm not like giving her a free pass on that. Does she deserve to be where she is for life? I don't know if she does. I think had she
Mhm.
not had the pressures around her, she probably would have led a normal life. And I don't think she ever would have got to this stage. There's an element of pressure and being in with the wrong people who, like, I'm
Yeah.
sure Daniel's in her ear going, oh, just kill your parents. That's easy. That's an easy way out. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe she would have killed, like, who knows? But I don't think she would. What I found really strange is I drew a lot of comparisons with this and Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And while I feel Gypsy should still be in prison, and I still maintain that, and I still maintain at some point we're going back to Gypsy Rose because she is reoffending and she is going back to prison, and I guarantee it. I don't necessarily think Jennifer should be in prison, and I can't explain why. I don't know why. There's something about
Better
Jennifer
come
and
up with
watching.
some reason.
Well, like watching her testimony, and like I find her very authentic. I find her remorse very authentic. I find that she was in a situation she couldn't control, and Gypsy was as well. And I'm not taking that away. Gypsy suffered the most horrific treatment ever, but I think Gypsy's full of shit, and I think Gypsy is a master manipulator, and I think she's going to end up back behind bars for some stupid shit she's going to do in the next year or two. We'll go back to her,
I
I'm
don't
sure.
know. We'll talk about it. I don't want to bash you on air and call you wrong, but
Yeah,
I mean, I do think that Gypsy Rose likes the publicity of it all. If that's maybe
Yeah.
what you're trying to say more so, I think she likes the fact that, look at it this way, Scott. So have a little, just a scotch of empathy just for a second, or give her like a fucking rice grain of grace to think if you were succumbed to that situation where your mother or father, whoever, or actually it's usually just mothers, did that to you, and you literally were like in a fucking jail cell in your home, I think that it will mentally mess you up. And so the fact that she's free, I don't think she understands how to use freedom. I don't think she understands. I'm not 100% sure that her mind ever really developed quite to the age that she is. I'm not calling her,
No.
I'm not slandering her. That's not what
No,
I'm
but
saying. I'm saying
again,
she
this
doesn't
plays
have the
into-
mental capacity of like,
And-
let's say we're 30. She's more
Yeah.
like acting like
10.
she's 22 or 20.
Yeah,
No, she's just got that young mentality.
yeah, and this
And
goes
I think
back
that's
to,
what it is.
But did she get enough rehabilitation to be out? Is she ready to be out in the world? Was she ready to come in and be this mega star
The
of social
thing
media? She
is-
wasn't.
No, probably not. We're always going to say probably not because, I mean, again, this was like, holy shit, I'm out. And then Ryan was the one that picked her up, her first
Yeah,
husband, Peter Griffin.
Peter
And
Griffin.
so, like, yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, you think about it. Did she maybe use him a little bit? I
Yeah.
kind of have this vibe that she was like, you're my meal ticket, and now I can be out in society. And she doesn't know what it's like to be a normal human being. None of us
No.
really are normal, but I mean in societal ways.
Yeah,
She
I'd
doesn't
agree.
know. And I think
Yeah.
that's the problem. And I think that's why you have so much like, she's going to do something really stupid. I hope to God she doesn't the
So
fact
do
that
I.
she had a baby. I hope she doesn't hurt. I don't think she's going to hurt
Yeah.
the baby. that
No,
she had.
I don't. I definitely don't. I mean, we've got 2 whole episodes on Gypsy Rose Blanchard, but me and Heather have
Yeah.
very different views throughout. So go and
we,
check those
we
out
do.
as well.
We don't
Um,
always have different views, but I mean, I
No.
think on some things it's a matter of our perspective. And you're male, I'm a female, so we do have that. And you have to think about that when you listen to a podcast with a male and a female. You are gonna usually have a different perspective coming from the male and the female, because first of all, you don't know what it's like to be a woman and
Yeah.
or pregnant or any of those things. And then me, I just it's a different mentality. So that's all it is. We're still friends, maybe. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. Now, quickly before we go, we don't get to do this very often because true crime doesn't lend itself very well to games. But with the amount of lies told by Jennifer Pan, I thought it would be a crime if we didn't play a game of 2 truths and 1 lie. So I'm going to tell Heather 3 things about my criminal past. Okay. Yes, I have a criminal past.
I already kind of knew that, but I don't know the details, guys.
No. And she can decide which one is a lie out of these 3 things. She had the notes to this a couple of days before we recorded, so she's had a chance to maybe have a think about this.
I can pull them right back up. And I was looking at them earlier and I still was like, I don't know.
Yeah. So these are the 3 statements. One of these is a lie. The other 2 are 100% true. And there's a story behind them, which I'm sure I'll share afterwards. Yes. So number 1, I have been arrested for drunken disorderly behavior and spent a night in the cells for this. Number 2, I have a suspended sentence for assault. And number 3, I was once arrested while dressed as Tinkerbell from Peter Pan.
Oh my gosh. So 2 of them are true. 1's a lie, correct?
1's a lie. Yeah.
Okay. I think that number 2 is a lie.
You sure?
Because I don't see you. It says for assault. I just feel like you're not violent like that. I feel like I mean, I know assault can be defined in different ways as far as like maybe it was like not like it's not like you hit a woman type thing. But I'm still going to go with 2 because for some reason that 1 and 3 feel true.
1 and 3 are 100% true. And both of them are the same event. So I went to a Halloween party in a pub. I got very, very drunk. There was some sort of argument and scuffle outside. And in my drunkenness, I ended up sat on top of the police car with my legs sat over the sirens going, wee woo, wee woo, wee.
Yeah, 100%.
But which at 21, I thought was hilarious. So, yeah, I got taken to the local police station while dressed as Tinkerbell in the whole outfit, the wig, the makeup, the works, and then got put in the cells overnight like that.
I wish you had a picture, Scott.
I have a picture of me in that outfit, and I will share it when we release the episode.
Yes, please do. Please do.
But yeah, I spent an entire night in the cells like that, and it was a bank holiday weekend, so that happened on a Friday, and I didn't get out till the Monday afternoon. Yeah. So I spent 3 days in the cells dressed as Tinkerbell.
You didn't get harassed, or nobody bothered you? They were probably all like, "Whatever, this dumbass."
No. In this country, you get individual cells. You're not put in like a group.
Oh wow, you're not like a crowd. It's not like on the movies in America, or in America, it's not like that. Like if you, let's say that you got a DUI, you would just be like in a holding cell type situation. And I think if they move you to you're not by yourself. No, you might be with somebody that did something like way worse.
Yes. Here you're on your own, thankfully, because I imagine in a prison setting dressed as Tinkerbell, it would not be the best outcome for me. Because as you said, I'm not a violent person, and I
knew that wasn't true because I was like, no, if anybody's going to assault you, you would be the one to be assaulted, not you wouldn't be causing the assault on anyone like in that manner. I knew that wasn't true. The third one kind of tripped me up, but then I was like, he probably did that.
Yeah, I did.
He probably did it.
And on that wonderful piece of news, that's a good place to pass over to Heather to round off this bad boy of an episode. So away you go. Jazz hands.
Okay, jazz hands, you guys. I'm sorry, I don't have any 2 truths and a lie. I mean, well, maybe next time we'll set it up and do something fun like that. But I do want to give a big shout out to everybody that is listening to us now. Again, I want to reiterate, please, if you were on Google Podcasts listening to us or what was it? Samsung Podcast. Sorry. Please. I know you can hear me from the other world. Google us, find us. You Run Podcast True Crime. If you get on Spotify, You Run Podcast, don't forget to type in True Crime, and please subscribe to us. Please give us a follow. Please do all the things. Rate us, review us. Even if you hate us, it still helps us. It still helps us. Okay. But you guys, the biggest takeaway with this case is that I think as a parent, as we're both parents, and I'm expecting my fourth and last baby, thank God. I think as a society, putting pressure on people, no matter if it's in, the UK, United States, Asia, China, Japan, it doesn't matter. I just feel like we need to all be a little softer with our children, and let's not expect too much, because we don't all have a savant. Our children are our children, and that's what they should be, and they shouldn't be expected to live up to a certain threshold. You know, I think putting that kind of societal pressure on a child causes issues. So with that being said, let's love everybody. Let's just be kind to your people, be kind to your children, and please give us a follow, like, subscribe, and stay safe, stay spooky. We'll see you next time, guys. Love you. Bye. Mwah.
Bye.
Heather's raging, old news she screams. The newer chases are all that she dreams. We dive into cases both weird and grim, from Zodiac ciphers to Tiger King's whim. Where You Run Podcast, the oddball pair. We're pretty damn good, to be fair. You Run Podcast, do true crime. Heather's ranting, Scott's in denial. From Manson's madness to Tupac's case, we're serving up crime with a comical grace. We're digging up dirt with a weekend and nod. You Run Podcast, approved by God. Probably not.
Stop right there, criminal scum. Nobody breaks the law on my watch.
Scott's like, can we talk about movies? Heather's yelling, no, it's time to do this. We're trapped in a world of murder and gore, but hey, at least we've got podcast galore. Toolbox killers are chilling affair, but we're adding our humor to ease up. You Run Podcast, do true crime. Heather's ranting, Scott's in denial. From Manson's madness to Tupac's case, we're serving up crime with a comical grace. We're digging up dirt with a wink and a nod. You Run Podcast, approved by God. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Scott's like, can we talk about movies? Heather's yelling, no, it's time to do this. We're trapped in a world of murder and gore, but hey, at least we've got podcast galore. Toolbox killers are chilling affair, but we're adding our humor to ease up. You Run Podcast,